Wow. So a massive altercation took place in the White House between Donald Trump and President Zelenskyy. Donald Trump attempted to intimidate Zelenskyy by screaming and yelling at Zelenskyy in the Oval Office when the cameras were shut off. And he was saying, "You better just take what I'm giving you. Let Russia take your land. Let them take what they've already taken over in the Donbass, and you need to shut the F up." Apparently, Trump was cursing and screaming at Zelenskyy. Then Zelenskyy stood his ground and said, "How dare you ask me to do those things?" That is absolutely unacceptable to Ukraine, to the Ukrainian people. We are going to fight, and you need to be tougher. You said you were going to give us long-range missiles. You said you were going to give us tomahawks. You said you were going to sanction Russia. Donald, this is absolutely pathetic the way you are behaving. They started screaming at each other. This was 24 hours after Donald Trump spoke with Vladimir Putin and the Russians, while the Ukrainian delegation had just arrived for this long-planned meeting where Trump was supposed to impose these sanctions against Russia and then give Ukraine these long-range Tomahawk weapons. Zelenskyy shows up. He finds out that Putin's been saying, "Oh, we should give Donald Trump the Nobel Peace Prize." And Putin's saying, "I want to speak to you, Donald." And then they started talking about building tunnels or bridges from Alaska to Russia that Putin said that he was going to pay for. And then Putin's delegation gave the Trump regime this like propaganda Kremlin files on JFK so that Donald Trump could try to divert attention away from the Epstein files, which is not working. And I said that when I heard about that Putin-Donald Trump call that lasted 2 hours, that took place right before the Zelenskyy meeting, within like 12 to 24 hours before, I said, "Oh, that Zelenskyy meeting is going to be a disaster," because Trump is getting his marching orders from Putin. And it was a disaster. Seemed like almost a physical altercation was going to take place the way Donald Trump was behaving in the Oval Office. From all of our sources and other reporting out there, it was like 10 times as worse as what happened on cameras when it was that first Zelenskyy and Trump meeting. And Zelenskyy held his ground, though. He would not back down at all. And then Zelenskyy posted immediately after that meeting that he had spoken to all of the leaders from the coalition of willing, everyone from UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer to the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, to the Canadian Prime Minister, to all the European leaders. They all got on the phone together, and Zelenskyy said, "Look, Donald Trump is a Putin bootlicker. Take a look at what he's doing and his behavior. We're on our own. We cannot trust this guy. He's terrorizing the Ukrainian people, and what he does is he feeds false hope as part of his plan with Putin. Okay, we're going to sanction 2 more weeks. We're going to give you the weapons," only then to try to use that time as a wedge and a weapon to harm Zelenskyy. Take a look at this reporting right here from the Financial Times, also from CNN. Apparently, Donald Trump tossed aside maps of the front line in Ukraine. He shoved these Putin maps in Zelensky's face. And he said, "Look at this, Zelenskyy. You have to surrender the entire Donbass region to Putin. You understand? Look at these maps. This is your new land. You take it, Zelenskyy." And he echoed the Putin talking points over and over again. And then apparently there was screaming taking place. The Financial Times, if you're like, "Oh, Ben, that's just being hyperbolic, oh, blah, 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 blah." The Financial Times describes this as a shouting match with Trump cursing the entire time. People familiar with the matter said. And then Donald Trump said, "What, you want to be destroyed? Putin's going to destroy you." And Zelensky's like, "You don't understand the dynamic of this war. Putin's taken over, like 1% additional territory and has lost 1.3 million Russians. We're holding our ground, and it's you, Donald, who are the freaking problem, because since you came into power, all of a sudden the drone strikes and the ballistic missile strikes into Ukraine have got so much worse." And then Trump was like, "You don't know what you're talking about. Putin told me this. Putin told me that." And then Trump's like, "The Russian economy is booming right now. It's doing great, just so you know." And Zelensky's like, "What are you talking about? The Russian economy is crashing right now. And if you just did what you're supposed to do and impose sanctions, it would be further crashing. We're striking the oil depots. We're striking their energy sector. and the Russian economy suffering right now. You don't know what you're talking about. And then Trump's like, you better take it or you're going to lose everything. And Zelensky's like, dude, just shut up. What the hell are you even talking about? So that's what went down at that meeting. The other Financial Times article from on or around that period was Trump resists Zelensky's plea for Tomahawk missiles. Weird way of framing it. Trump resists. Trump's regime, everybody from Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, to Senator Thune, the majority leader in the Senate, to Lindsey Graham, they all said, remember Lindsey Graham a few weeks ago? We're going to make sure we add Russia to the terrorist list. Remember Lindsey Graham did that at the press conference? I've spoken to Donald. He says that they're getting those long-range missiles. We're going to do it. Trump's being tough. No one's been tougher on Putin. Lindsey Graham, you are a fool. MAGA Republicans, you are a fool. By the way, did y'all realize, and we've reported on this before, that the Secretary of Defense, who calls himself unlawfully the Secretary of War, that pathetic coward, Pete Hegseth, the Fox weekend host, wasn't even good enough to be a weekday host, and then became the Secretary of Defense to just further humiliate the United States. He was wearing a Russian tie to the meeting with Zelensky, a Russian tie, and all of the Russian press propaganda services like TASS and even Dmitriev, the Russian sovereign wealth fund guy who's been speaking with the MAGA Republican Congress members. They're like, oh, we love his tie. He's wearing the Russian colors. Just think about it. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, unlawfully calling himself the Secretary of War, shows up to the Zelensky meeting in a Russian tie. A Russian tie. I just want you to think about that. So then, after reaching out and speaking with his European allies and saying, look, Trump's working for Putin, basically, is essentially the message that Zelensky sent in so many words. Not that exactly, but basically, he's doing Putin's bidding, folks. We got to do something. Then Zelensky goes on Meet the Press, which the way the Meet the Press host frames this question is so pathetic. But watch what Zelensky says when Kristen Welker asks him, does Trump need to get tougher with Putin? Zelensky says yes, but the wind-up to this question is so pathetic. She's like, so we all know that Donald Trump successfully negotiated a peace deal in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas by being tough on both sides. Do you think that this is needed? This is why our press doesn't necessarily need to be met other than with strong words of what the hell are you doing? There's a defective, fraudulent ceasefire. There's not a peace deal in the Middle East. Let's be clear what the hell happened. Trump doesn't support a two-state solution. Netanyahu doesn't support a two-state solution. Netanyahu's right hand, Smotrich, the finance minister, talks about building more settlements in Gaza. 36 Palestinians have been killed since the ceasefire. There have been strikes in southern Gaza. Hamas has not disarmed. They said, why would we disarm? The peace agreement, which is a fake ceasefire agreement, wasn't even signed by Israel or Hamas. They're not signatories, just random countries ended up signing. Imagine doing a mediation, but the countries that are actually involved are not doing the mediation. Just think about, that dynamic right there. Now, I think this is really important for me to bring this up. The Medicare annual enrollment period is here. This is the time to compare your options. If you don't, your costs could go up, your coverage could change, or your plan could disappear entirely. So listen up. That's why I recommend you reach out to our partners chapter. They're the only advisors who look at every single plan in the country and provide honest advice to Americans on Medicare. It's why we work with them at the MeidasTouch Network. In under 20 minutes, they can see if you're already on the best plan for your needs. If you are, they'll tell you. If not, they'll help you switch for free. They've already helped many members of the MeidasTouch community, and they can help you too. Don't get duped by brokers who are pushing the plans that pay them the biggest kickbacks. And don't wait until December to figure out your plan for next year. Call Chapter today at 82 Medicare. That's 82 Medicare and get honest advice today. Give them a call and let me know how it goes in the comments below. I know the Meidas Mighty have been very happy with the results. And so with all of that, And Trump said he's good with Hamas patrolling. Anyway, I digress. Let me just show you what Zelenskyy says here. But I think I have to fact check Kristen Welker's stupidity before the question. Here, play this clip.
Okay. Part of President Trump's success with Israel and Hamas was that he applied pressure to all sides. Does President Trump need to get tougher with President Putin?
Yes, and even more, because Putin is something similar, but more strong than Hamas. It's more bigger war, and he is the second army in the world, and that's why more pressure.
And then this Zelenskyy says the following about Putin. You know, if it's the largest territorial country in the world, why do they need more kilometers? What the hell are they doing? Here, play this clip.
I don't understand why the leader of the country, which is the biggest, which has the biggest territory in the world, they need some more kilometers. That's why I think that this war is not about the land and not about territories for him. It's about our sovereignty and about our independence. And he can get it, how to get different instruments. Territories, one of the instruments. That's about it. On the battlefield, he's not winning. That's why he really escalates air strikes. And you are right, he using missiles and drones on he wants disaster, energy disaster during this winter by attacking us. Each day, 500 Iranian drones. Each day, 500 Iranian drones and 20-30 missiles. That's why we need air defense and long range. He has to feel what we feel.
And then Zelenskyy did this press tour after that disastrous meeting with Trump. Here, play this clip right here.
There has to be a ceasefire in place before you can
negotiate.
I think yes. Russia has launched some of its biggest attacks against Ukraine since President Trump's summit with President Putin in Alaska. Give us a sense of what's happening right now on the battlefield. Is Ukraine losing this war or winning this war?
We are not losing this war, and Putin is not winning. And really, his army now in the weak position. I think so, because they really, from the beginning of this war, they could occupy 1% of our land, but they spend 1,300,000 people.
I just want to show you all that back on October 16th, 2025, before the Zelenskyy meeting, I predicted what was going to happen. I'm not trying to spike the football. I'm just want to, because there's not a spike the football moment that Donald Trump's a Putin bootlicker. I'm just trying to tell you because we study what these moves are. We're not buying corporate news narratives. I'm just trying to say this is obviously what's going to happen. The same way we did not refer to the defective ceasefire as a peace deal. I said, what are we talking about? It's obviously not a real ceasefire at all. Why are you acting like this guy brought peace to the Middle East? Why are you putting him on the cover of Time magazine? He didn't do anything. Like, what the hell are you, what the hell did he, Biden got 83% of the hostages back. He wasn't spiking the football and going, oh, look at me, look at me. Anyway, here's what I said on October 16th. Let's play this clip right here. He's meeting with Zelenskyy tomorrow. In many ways, though, I actually think it's not great timing, because it's right after the Putin talk, and Trump's still going to be feasting off the Putin talking points. Yeah. So I'll focus on what's going to happen there. But if I was betting, knowing Trump's psychology, I think that in pathology, I think it's not going to be a good meeting. And I say that because Trump seems to be emboldened by believing that he actually just brought peace to the Middle East, which he did not do. And I think he's going to go there and try to intimidate Zelenskyy in a way that I don't think people are. We'll see if I'm right or wrong, but I think I'm right about that one. I think I have a good sense of his pathology. And now I think those clips have more context when you know exactly what just went down. And of course, you had Putin before that meeting saying, oh, Trump should get a Nobel Peace Prize. He should get a Nobel Peace Prize. And then I just want to share this with you as well, because Donald Trump then claimed he'll be meeting with Putin in Hungary, with Viktor Orban soon. So then reporters, like Huffington Post reporters, then asked the White House, and can you please tell us, so the president of the United States plans to meet with Putin in Hungary. And when reporters asked, where did that plan come from? This was the reply from Trump's communications head and Trump's press secretary. In response to Huffington Post query about who suggested Budapest as the location between Trump and Putin, White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt responded, your mama did. And White House communications director Stephen Chung said, your mom did. This is the level of maturity coming from this despicable, vile, grotesque location now called the White House. And then finally, when Trump was asked earlier last week about the Tomahawk missiles going to Ukraine, Donald Trump said, well, we need them. America needs them. Why would we give them our Tomahawks? Here, play this clip.
Tell me about the Tomahawks. Did you discuss the Tomahawk missiles? Did you discuss?
Well, we talked about it a little bit, didn't say much, but I do say to you, we need Tomahawks for the United States of America, too. We have a lot of them, but we need them. I mean, we can't deplete for our country. So, they're very vital. They're very powerful. They're very accurate. They're very good, but we need them, too. So I don't know what we can do about that.
Well, there you have it, folks. I think that about sums up everything that went down in this essentially almost a brawl taking place in the Oval Office. Well, let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million, and thank you for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.